Welcome back, everyone, for another episode of Liberty Driven. Just wanted to do a couple of housekeeping things up here at front. I'm actually recording this the night before Thursday. This is actually Wednesday night that I'm recording this. I had some scheduling conflicts, so I apologize for not doing a live session today. But hopefully, this pre-recorded one will have the same feel and vibe, and won't be too much of a problem. If you watch these after the live anyway, it's no big deal. You don't even know the difference. So I did get a new shipment of books in, so they're ready to order. So go to libertydriven.com, get your copy of the book, and if you have one, then get some for friends. It's a great conversation starter, and a way to introduce the concepts of liberty to your friends and family. So as always, please like, subscribe. That's the wrong button. Boy, can I do this right? Yeah, there we go. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're watching on YouTube. If not, then head over to the Facebook page, Liberty Driven Books, and like us, follow us there, and yeah. So I'm really excited about this topic that we're going to be talking about today, and it's something that has actually been on my mind for 2 years. I did a lot of the prep on this about 2 years ago. It's a video clip from the New York Times, and anyway. Let's start the show officially and get the ball rolling, because I'm excited to talk about this. Like I said, I'm excited to get started right in here. So this is a video that was put out by the New York Times back in 2018. Actually, the reason I came across it is because I was going through my files, and it was actually released October 1st of 2018. So this is 2 years to the date of its original release. And it's about healthcare in China, and It's an interesting video. It presents a lot of facts, but as I've come to know from the New York Times, very little of what they report on and say is based in any kind of defensible version of reality. So the title of the clip, the title of the video is called "How Capitalism Ruined China's Healthcare System." Now, with a title like that, of course, my interest was piqued. Capitalism ruined China's healthcare system. That's quite a claim. So, just so you know, my standard going into this, looking at this, I'm viewing this as thinking, okay, in order for the New York Times to be able to defend that claim, they had to show 5 things. There's 5 things that I think they need to show. 1, they need to show that China did, in fact, implement capitalism, that's what they actually did. 2, they have to show that prior to whatever form of capitalism that they implemented, that the China's healthcare system worked better than it does now. Third, since the introduction of capitalism, they have to show that healthcare has declined. It's kind of a subset of number 2, but they have to show that there's been a decline in the quality, the availability of healthcare to some appreciable degree in China. Fourth, that there are specific capitalist policies that can be directly linked to the decline. So if they can show that there's been a decline, what are the capitalist policies that have that can be directly linked to that decline? After all, correlation doesn't equal causation, right? Just because 2 things happen one after the other doesn't mean that the first thing caused the second thing. So even if they've made the case for the first three items, have they made the case for item number 4, that there's a link between them? And then lastly, the fifth one, we have to check. There's always the possibility in any kind of scientific experiment, you have to check you have to have a control. And the question we have to ask here is there any way in which the state action has exacerbated or made the problems of China's healthcare system worse? In other words, is there any other cause that we can point to in analyzing the decline, if there is any, of China's healthcare system? So let's start tackling these right away. I mean, so spoiler alert. No, they fail on all 5 points. They do not show what they need to show in order to make the claim stick that capitalism ruined China's healthcare system. So let's tackle this in order. Let's look at video clip number 1. This is from pretty early on in the video. I'm not going to show the whole video. I'm going to have the link in the description, so you can watch it yourself. You can see the whole, I think it's 9 minutes, 9-minute long video. Not long. I mean, you can choke down the visceral disgust you might have, long enough to watch their whole clip. So anyway, okay, I'll put the video in the link to the video in the description. But this is pretty early on in the video where they're talking about they're giving an insight into what healthcare is like in China, and they focus on this one man who's trying to help his ailing mother out. So let's take a look here at clip number 1.
The Communist Party of China says it provides close to universal healthcare coverage. Nearly 95% of people are insured here, including Jaejun's mother.
Okay, so right there, we can put the lie to this claim that that capitalism has ruined China's healthcare system. Right there at the beginning of this video, they point out that the government provides 95% coverage. I'm not sure what definition of capitalism we're using, but a system in which 95% of medical care is coming from government doesn't seem like a capitalist system to me. It looks like a majority state-run system, a single-payer system with 5% capitalism. And are they going to claim that 5% capitalism, just that much capitalism, is enough to destroy and ruin China's healthcare system? It is a claim that goes beyond the pale. It is a very bold claim, and one that they do not do well in proving. We're going to revisit this point later on as we move forward. Yeah, so this is just bad reporting on the New York Times part. Not that we should be surprised, but let's take a look at this second clip that will expose more. This takes place right after. You'll see that it takes place right after the clip we just saw. Let's take a look here.
So why is he making drugs on the floor of his apartment when his mother has insurance? It's a symptom of a healthcare system in crisis.
A healthcare system in crisis. That's their. Let's rewind that. Let's watch that again here, because there's a part here that I think I skipped over here. Let me look here.
His insurance? It's a symptom of a healthcare system in crisis.
All right. Well, that's not the clip that I thought it was. Let's. I think this next clip is. This is the clip. Yes, this is the clip. I'm only going to play the first few seconds of this clip because I don't want to get too far into it before I address the issue that I wanted to address. So let's look here.
Understand this crisis, we need to rewind a bit. Under Mao Zedong, the communist state provided free healthcare for all. Decades later, China adopted a unique brand of capitalism.
Okay, that's where I wanted to stop, right there. He says, under the new plan, China adopted a unique brand of capitalism. Well, it's pretty unique because it's not something that is done anywhere else, and to call it capitalism is a stretch. It is a stretch that is far too far for us to be able to accept. So their own claim, the New York Times' own claim, as they get into the actual reporting of what the story is, it begins to fall apart very quickly. It falls apart almost immediately. What China has is not capitalism. Let's be very clear here. China has not adopted capitalism. What they've adopted is a socialist market economy. Okay, that is completely different than capitalism. Completely different. There is some private ownership, but in an economy that is fundamentally socialist, it is a complete and utter fabrication to call it capitalism. It isn't in any stretch of the imagination. They have a planned economy. That's not capitalism. That's not the free market. A planned economy is the antithesis of the free market. It is. Even saying private ownership. You know that they have some private ownership in China. Even saying that it doesn't even mean the same thing. It doesn't mean even close to the same thing that it means in America. I mean, in a country that is founded on a liberty-driven revolution, this idea that they can compare what we established to what China is doing is absurd. It is absolutely absurd. I don't know how anybody could defend this with a straight face unless they were naive, malicious, or just stupid. There is no defense for the claim that China has implemented capitalism. The phrase "a unique brand of capitalism" itself is a problem. It's not capitalism. A unique brand of capitalism means it's not capitalism. It is market socialism. It's a socialist market economy, not capitalism. So I think at this point we can say emphatically that the New York Times has failed to prove the first thing that it needed to prove. The first thing being that China had in fact implemented capitalism. They failed. They put the nail in the coffin. It's done. They didn't do it. They failed to prove the most critical thing that they had to prove. In order to prove that capitalism ruined China's healthcare system, you have to prove that China actually implemented capitalism. You can't prove that if they didn't do it, and they didn't. It's frustrating to even have to make this argument. I'm frustrated that I even have to say this. We now move to point 2. Did China's healthcare system work better than it does now? And again with point 3, has the healthcare system declined? Has their healthcare system declined? So let's continue with this clip that we started here and finish that out.
Transform the country from a poor farming nation into an economic superpower.
Okay, right there we start to see the cracks in the argument, right? it transformed the socialist market economy that they implemented, the unique brand of capitalism that they implemented, improved things. It improved things in China immensely. Anybody who knows the history of China in the 20th century knows what a horrible, horrible atrocity China was. I mean, human rights violations, absolute abject poverty. It was disastrous. It was absolutely disastrous. And so even if there are problems, and there are, the video goes into it, there are problems in China's system, no doubt about it. But those problems are preferable to what they had before. What they had before was an absolute, it's inhuman. It is inhuman, the kind of degradation and absolute misery that these people lived in under China's rule prior to the unique brand of capitalism. As I always like to say, a little bit of capitalism goes a long way. And so a little bit of what they've done, they implemented a few capitalist ideas. Not wholesale. It wasn't a complete adoption of capitalism, but what few ideas that they did implement were vast improvements over what they had before. Let's continue with this clip.
Life expectancy soared, but the introduction of capitalism...
Okay. Life expectancy soared. Life expectancy soared. I mean, right there, they're done for. Their claim has no merit. Not only did they not implement capitalism, but their healthcare improved. It didn't degrade, it improved. Life expectancy soared. The answer, how did capitalism ruin China's healthcare system? It didn't. It improved it. It ruined a ruined system. It ruined the horrible crap show that it was beforehand. So if what you were going for was absolute horror, yes, capitalism ruined the horror that was China's healthcare system. It's just the New York Times, man. The New York Times. There's I'm not even done with this clip. This clip is the one clip that really just got my blood pumping. when you can probably tell. Let's continue with this clip.
And the retreat of the state meant that healthcare was no longer free.
Okay. And the retreat of the state. Okay. 95% is not a retreat. It's a moderate, tiny baby step backwards, maybe. Retreat. Ridiculous.
Hospitals became profit-driven, and with limited accountability, they were widely accused of predatory behavior.
Okay. That sounds horrible. That sounds awful. Predatory behavior, that does not sound good. Limited accountability doesn't sound good. It also doesn't sound like capitalism. Because in capitalism, there is accountability. A business owner is accountable to his customers. A business owner fails. A business owner fails if they don't provide the services. So limited accountability, that already tells you that we're not dealing with a free market economy. We're not dealing with capitalism. I've got some notes here, and I'm just I've got a little bit lost here. So anyway, China's quasi-capitalist system has clearly improved things in China, and the statistics show that. The statistics that we have coming out of China show the vast improvement in China's health, accompanying the small influence that capitalism had. So, I think we've destroyed point number 1. We've destroyed point number 2. So now, and point number 3. Now we're on to point number 4. What are the specific capitalist policies that can be directly linked to the decline? Well, there aren't any. There isn't a decline, so there's that. But let's look here further. Here's another clip. Again, continuing on from where the last clip ended. Let's see here.
A culture of mistrust and inequality now plague the system. Here's what that looks like today for ordinary Chinese. It's 5 a.m., and about 100 people have gathered in a line in downtown Shanghai. This isn't the line to a movies or a holiday sale. It's the entrance to the Shanghai Cancer Center at Fudan University.
Okay, did you catch that? Did you catch what they just tried to slide right on past you? I'll play it again here. I'll play that the last few seconds here again. Let's see if you can catch it.
Holiday sale. It's the entrance to the Shanghai Cancer Center at Fudan University.
One more time. Make sure you can catch that.
Shanghai Cancer Center at Fudan University.
The Cancer Center at the university. Who do you think runs that? In fact, all of the clips you see here, all these clips, all these horrible clips of people lined up outside, of people lining the hallways, all this horrible stuff that you see, do you know what all that is? All of those clips, every single one of the clips in this entire video that the New York Times shows, every clip is from a state-run hospital. Every clip. Every clip is from a state-run hospital. But it's all capitalism's fault. It's all capitalism's fault. Capitalism is the reason that the state can't get their crap figured out. Capitalism is the reason that we can't have everything nice and glorious and wonderful. Capitalism is to blame. I mean, what a wonderful gig. What a wonderful gig to be able to blame all of your failures on this boogeyman that you've set up, this straw man argument that you've set up. Everything that you have going wrong with your life is all capitalism's fault. Oh, don't mind the fact that we're the ones who are administrating the hospital. Don't mind that fact. Don't mind the fact that this is actually a state-run hospital. It's capitalism's fault. I mean, what? What a joke. What a joke. Again, this is in a system that has 95% state coverage. So if we can't blame capitalism for this, and we can't, at this point, with just the few clips that I've shown you, you cannot blame capitalism for the state of China's healthcare system. Can't. It's impossible. I think we've obliterated that. We've disproven point 1. We've disproven point 2. We've disproven point 3. We've disproven point 4. The only thing left for us to talk about is point 5, which is how has the state exacerbated the issues that are plaguing their system. All right. Well, let's pull up this last clip here. Or no, second, third to last. I got more clips. Let's leave it at that. Actually, before I go there, let's show this one clip, because this relates more closely to what we were talking about. I pointed out the lines that are outside, the scalpers that are gaming the system. Let's look at this clip here, though.
Once in the hospital, patients will stand in another line. It's the second and there are more to come. They scan the board of available specialists, selecting one based on their best self-diagnosis.
Seriously, what private-run organization would do things that way? What private-run organization whose business is healthcare would have its customers come in and say, I think this is what's wrong with me? None. Name one hospital where that happens in America. Name one hospital where that happens in America. It doesn't happen. It happens in China at a state-run hospital. That's where it happens. Again, I don't even get through halfway through these clips, and I find stuff to point out. Anyway, let's continue.
If they're lucky, the one they choose will have time to see them. For those who choose wrong, the cycle will begin again tomorrow.
I mean, seriously, WTF? That is a messed up system. That is seriously messed up. But guess what? We haven't even gotten to the worst part of it yet. There's one more clip on the Scalpers that I wanted to play. There's no doubt about it that China's healthcare system is a system in crisis. There is no doubt about it. There is no argument that anyone could possibly make to suggest that China's healthcare system is anything but a complete shambles. But let's see how far this goes.
The Scalpers are out, and they're selling spots in line.
环纽这么多了，你那边全部是环纽了。温州那边这里，温州这家看病老顾客了30多万了，这个每个早上都是1点多钟，那天晚上感冒的。
China's line scalpers symbolize a greater dysfunction. Your chance of seeing a doctor here is directly related to how big your wallet is. Corruption is inherently part of the system.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack in that. And let's acknowledge that, yeah, corruption is inherently part of the system. And the scalpers are a part of the problem. Now, what caused the scalpers? What's causing the scalpers at a state-run hospital? I mean, that seems to me to be mismanagement. And it also shows one of the fundamental flaws of a state-run system. When you have a single-payer system, you have what happens here. You have finite resources that are far exceeded by the demand. You have this many doctors and you have this much demand. That's what happens when you have a closed system that doesn't really allow for direct competition. Because again, China has a socialist market planned economy. A socialist market economy, it is a planned economy. They don't allow things to happen that aren't part of the plan. Planned economies are horrifically, I mean, of course they're subject to corruption. I mean, if it weren't for corruption, nothing would get done. It's unfortunate. It's sad. It is sad that these people have to deal with this. But to blame it on capitalism, geez. That's just, it's absurd. It's absurd. So, what is the flaw in the system? Where do the flaws come from? Let's look at another clip here.
Despite its rapid modernization, China still uses what is known as the hukou system. Your hukou is defined by your birthplace, and you're only entitled to social services within that region. Everything from the schools your kids can go to what your health insurance will cover is determined the moment you are born. So if you get cancer and live in an area without an oncologist, you could be in trouble. Some here compare it to a caste system.
And somehow this is the fault of capitalism. This ancient thing that has been around for who knows how long, Huko system, and they haven't had capitalism around. They didn't have capitalism around when the Huko system was implemented. How is that the fault of capitalism? I mean, most of the things that they complain of, most of the things that the New York Times points out as being problems are problems caused by the state. I mean, come on. This is the fact that this video, that the script for this video didn't go through some level of editorial scrutiny before the garbage was put out there, before they spent the money in putting this thing together, is just sad. It's sad. It is an abomination, and the New York Times should be ashamed. I mean, absolutely ashamed to have produced such an absolute piece of drivel. Just absolute drivel. You know, if there's any doubt as to the damage that capitalism has done to the world, if there's any question about that, I have one last thing for you to look. And this isn't from the video. This is what is this from? This is from I don't know what it's from. But I checked it from other sources. World data on global poverty levels. Yeah, that chart shows that it's not a problem. It's not a problem of capitalism. It's not a problem of capitalism. Capitalism, if anything, has done immense good for the people of the world. It's just to suggest otherwise is just completely dishonest. Again, let's put that up again. I think I fixed the audio on that. But this is where we were back in 1990. Look at this. 35% of the world lived on less than $1.90 a day. 35%. And look where it is now. And this was as of 2015. It was around 10%. You can't see the thing. I apologize for that. But it's around 10% here. But now it's even less. During an era where capitalism has come in. Capitalism has come into these countries. And capitalism is to thank for this sharp decline that we see in global poverty rates. Capitalism is to thank for it. And to do anything else other than to thank capitalism, to absolutely just get on our knees and praise God for giving us capitalism. It is the best thing to happen. So, thank you, capitalism, for ruining China's horrible healthcare system and making it better. Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, these are the kind of things that are so important for us to understand, to be able to critically analyze. We need to analyze why does a major newspaper so horribly misrepresent the truth? I mean, we can make our suppositions. We can make our guesses as to why, our cynical guesses as to what they're doing. But it doesn't matter ultimately. Ultimately, we're the ones in charge, and we need to know. We need to know that we have the power to make things better by ignoring the lies and critically using our own thoughts, using our own analytical abilities. We can overcome this. Again, one last time, I got to tell you, if you haven't bought the book, do it now. Do it now. Go to libertydriven.com. Libertydriven.com. Buy the book. It's not thick. It's a small book. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to read it. If you can't read this, boy, I mean, seriously, we're in trouble. We need to have a liberty-driven revolution in order to battle the bad ideas that we see coming out of DC, out of New York Times. To battle these bad ideas, we need to have a liberty-driven revolution. We need to get back to the ideas that made this country what it was. We need to get back to the idea that it isn't going to be a planned economy. It isn't going to be socialism. It isn't going to be government control that improves our lives. The evidence is in. The statistics are in. This is a closed argument. We're done arguing it. Socialism doesn't work. Capitalism works. Capitalism, even a tiny little bit of capitalism, can dramatically improve the conditions of people all over the world. Just a little bit. This dramatic drop in world poverty, that's 25% drop approximately in 25 years. A 25 percentage point drop, not a 25% drop, a drop of 25 percentage points in 25 years. That is all thanks to capitalism, and not full-blown capitalism. That is all thanks to the small amount of capitalism that has been allowed in places like China and India. Places that had the most poverty before don't anymore because of capitalism. We need a liberty-driven revolution. It's the only thing that's going to save America. It's the only thing that's going to save the world. Nothing else comes close. We've shown it here today with healthcare. Future episodes will show more. Again, if you haven't had the opportunity, please, on there we are, on YouTube, like it, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Make sure you're getting these videos in your feed. We're in this together. We're in this together, and we've got to get it going. If you're not on YouTube, go over to facebook.com/libertydrivenbooks. Like, follow, and share. Share this video. Share it with your friends. Share it with your socialist friends. They need to know. They need to know the truth. And we're not hitting them as hard as we could. We're not hitting the lies as hard as we could. And that's what this show's about. Hitting those lies, exposing them, and tearing them down. So, thanks for joining. I know we've gone a little bit long today, but I thought this was an important topic to discuss. So, again, thanks for coming. Go to libertydriven.com, buy the book, and I will see you guys next week.